Sorry, this is Pastor Tyrone from the 404 coming live and direct to you. I'm right now getting ready to try to set up a double screen. I have a couple of iPads, and I'm going to use my PC that we're using right now as our main headquarters on this rainy Friday, and as we're looking for opportunities, new jobs, etc. And I'm going to bring in my iPad Pro. It's only 2 years old, but I'm gonna bring my iPad Pro in, and we're going to discuss a situation that's really profound. And I think as a singles minister, I kind of asked myself, why am I so passionate about this? Because I guess I hate to see anybody killed, anybody murdered, anybody taken advantage of, especially as it relates to sexual murders. And there's a lot of money being made off of true crime, a lot of money that's being made off of people selling videos or doing streaming. That's the new thing now, where true crime is the thing. And I'm angry at it. I don't have any children, but I asked myself, if I did have a child, would I want my child to die? And of course the answer is heck no. Of course not. But unfortunately, the reality is that I also recognize that God allows these evil things to happen to people because they don't know the Lord. So the title of this message is Blackmail with Same and Interracial Women. Is it worth it? What about Deuteronomy 28? That's the title of this message today. And since YouTube for the last 9 years has become the financial guru due to the fact that people are making millions and billions of dollars off of streaming, my little channel, God willing, will be big, but I want to be able to have conversations about race and religion. Race and religion. Goes back to what I experienced as a minister, as a Christian, getting born again in February 1997. But then before that time, I experienced interracial dating, interracial relationships, interracial sex. I experienced the worst of that, and not the best. And I believe there's a reason why. And I want to talk about it. And then I want to talk about what I've seen on TV shows today that are talking about kids that are young enough to be my own child. 22-year-old white woman who comes from Texas, moves to Tennessee to date a white guy, to live with him, gets there, breaks up, and once she breaks up from that relationship, she starts dating multiple penises, having sex with multiple men, and of course they're shooting up the club. She's blown away because she's having the best sex in her little bitty life. Believe me, that may sound crazy, but when you're 21 years old and you're having orgasms that you did not learn because your mama didn't tell you about it, your daddy wasn't there, and you are having orgasms and looking into the eyes of the man that's thrusting his penis inside of you, I don't care what you say. You're not thinking about you're holy. You're not thinking about God. You're not thinking about God in that way. You're saying, oh God, but you ain't saying, oh God, because you love Jesus. You're saying, oh God, because of something else. And the reality is that sex drives us. So the mere fact for us to be able to act like, well, sex is not that important is BS. Sex drives us. It drives us. And it drives us in a crazy, crazy way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join the StreamYard with my other link, and I have to open it up in Safari. So I'm sorry. That's the one thing you got to do. So you cannot open this link up in Chrome. You use if it's an Apple, we should never use there we go. Let's talk about this. There we go. And so basically, go back in. We go back to Gmail. I'm gonna take this link. I'm gonna copy it once again, and I gotta open up in my Apple. I should have been doing this. Oh God. open up Safari. I should have been doing this a long time ago, but since I got a couple more days, I'm going to enter the studio. I should see myself come up in a second and allow microphone access. And there's a allow button at the top. There we go. And now I'll be able to see myself. And this will be all right, mute. And so now I have him in. Test. There we go. Beautiful. I'm backstage on The Host Can See You. And so once he adds me to the front, which I will do, turn that down. Now he's in the front. And now I can be able to talk. Can I share my screen? I got the front camera. I got the back camera. I'm now in the show. Everybody can see me. But I don't have an avatar. So I need to make me an avatar. So we'll edit the avatar. Now let's talk about it. I'm a man, and I love, L-O-V-E, love the woman. I want to make sure I state that emphatically. And I think it's very, very important for all of us that are believers to not act like we can't talk about sex, that we can't be proud of sex. Okay? But at the same time, I recognize that when it comes down, this is me right here, when it comes down to what's going on, it's a lot bigger. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to minimize this page real quick. 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 I'm going to open up what's called IPTV. And this is, and then we'll go to the series. And we're going to go to, only got this for a couple more days anyway, documentary, and then we're going to hit all, and we're going to type in final moments. And I'm going to now present. So yes, now everybody will be in here, but now they can't talk. All right, let's get started. So this right here is Final Moments. This is the actual IPTV Smartest program. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about an episode, and why this episode is important is because it's only 12. It affects 12% of the population, or it affects 6% of the population. 6% of the population are African American men. And every time African American men gets caught up in one of these type of events, whether it's with a black woman or a white woman, it's destructive to our race. That means that's a child that won't be born, a legacy that will not come, a lifestyle that will not be. And in this situation, this show talks about heartwarming or heart-wrenching crimes. And they pick the worst crimes. So for those that, and I was one of those people, that I never in my wildest dreams would ever think of hurting a woman. I never in my wildest dreams ever hurt a woman. Never in my wildest dreams ever thought of slapping or touching a woman. But guess what? There are people out there that do. And I think that as a minister and as a person in the singles ministry, we got to be open and we got to talk about this because it happens. It's happening to women right now, by men right now. And the ignorance of us acting like it doesn't happen are going to be the downfalls of the continual downfall of our life. I think the African American man is by nature, doesn't know this, but it's under Deuteronomy 28 curse. And for those of us who are aware of the curses now and we're trying our best to break them, we're doing teaching on it. But there's a lot of us that are not aware, and we're walking around and as the Matrix, as the 1999 movie Matrix. You're plugged into this curse. You don't know why you do what you do. You don't know Satan, the God of this world, is controlling you. But he's only controlling you because Yah put the curse on you because of your ancestors' decisions and what they did. And when you look at Deuteronomy 28, you just cringe, man. But the more I read it, the more I believe it, the more I see it. So in this episode, or episode 3, let's talk about episode 3, okay? It opens up, and it starts off like this. As it buffers and opens up, they do their typical montage. Here's the montage. Young 22-year-old, 2:30 at night, goes to an all-night restaurant to eat after being at a club. There's the guy that's next to her is a guy, but he's playing asexual with this feminine hair. He's touching her, he's rubbing her back. He really wants to have sex with her, right? But he's what we call the asexual. He's attracted to somebody who looks like me. Well, that's the whole lesbian, LGBTQRS, TUV thing. But even in the lesbian homosexual world, even the two women, there is a male woman and a female woman. Exactly. That's why homosexuality is completely demonic. It's not even physically. If it was two males or two women, they should both be masculine or both be feminine. But why you got a feminine male and a masculine male? There's no such thing. There's a feminine female and there's a masculine male. That's the way God created. That's what Genesis says. Male and female created he them. And he blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth and subdue it. All right. So with this being said, what ends up happening, okay, is that the girl is, we're going to stop recording now. Good. Go here. We're going to go here, and we're going to put this in. And this is called okay, so she's dead. She's dead in her own bed. She's dead by being bludgeoned to death, hit in the back of the head after sex. So somebody literally had sex with her, and then after having sex, beats her in the head and walks away. Nah, this got a lot more to it. As we talk about, we're going to find out it's a lot more to it. But I want to make sure we see all this. So we'll let it open up and explain the intro.
I hope he slept good and that we can talk soon.
All you have is the lifeless body of a 22-year-old. Why does someone do this?
The most gut-wrenching part was seeing Heather's hand still grasping the sheet.
But I just remember screaming, somebody's killed my daughter.
You have to look at these videos and hopefully gain something from it.
I think everybody was crushing on Heather.
Who do you tell your secrets to? Now you tell your secrets to your cell phone.
It was one of the most shocking videos I have ever seen in my career. I was watching the final moments of the life of Heather Nicole Maples.
22-year-old aspiring college student Heather Maples is preparing to leave her hometown in Texas to pursue her dreams in Tennessee.
She loved the idea of moving to Tennessee. She just wanted to start over and do something different. My name is Jenna Holt Gomez, and Heather will always be my best friend. She knew what words to say to make you feel better. Literally 5 minutes of talking with Heather and you would forget that you're even sad about anything. And Heather was really good at helping people.
I am really sorry that I didn't send you anything yesterday. And I hope you slept good and that we can talk soon.
Heather Nicole Maples is born August 23, 1992, in Ocala, Florida, on the eve of a record storm.
My name is Jennifer Hunter, and I am Heather Maples' mother. Hurricane Andrew was just hours away, but I had a baby during a hurricane.
All right, so we don't hear nothing about the father. We don't hear nothing about where is he. 92 is my generation. I graduated in 93. So if she had a baby in 92, she probably could be a couple years older than I am. She might be 18 when she had her child. We don't know, but I'm probably arguing that's what she probably was. The second thing is that Ocala, Florida to Texas. How you go from Ocala, Florida to Texas? That's a big jump. I mean, it's a huge jump. I mean, it's like me going from Jacksonville to Oklahoma. There was a reason I went to Bible college. If I had not gone to Bible college, there would have been no way in hell I would have been in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Period. And all the other states around Tulsa, around Oklahoma. I wouldn't have got that experience and that life-changing experience. At the same time, though, I will have to say that when it came down to relationships-wise, I was a guy that, I see these individuals, this girl, this white girl, even though she's not my child, I could see her as my child. I'm 49. I could see having a child that young be taken away from me. And I have to empathize and I have to get angry with anybody who dares to take someone's child away. I'm just going to be as honest as I can be. I have to, and I'm going to, and that's why I'm doing this discussion right now. We're going to fast forward because we can save some time. She then moves to Tennessee. She moves to Tennessee because that was her dream. I'm going to go to Tennessee. She's a European woman. She can move anywhere. She's 21 years old. She's at her sexual marketplace value, what Kevin Samuels would call the sexual marketplace value. She has a vagina that has just been opened, okay? And for all of us guys who, and I'm not going to be graphic at all here. I'm a minister and I have to be as professional, but I'm going to get as close to the line as I can without being graphic. But the fact of the matter is, we're driven by sex. And at 16 years old, you're driven by sex. At 17 years old, you're driven by sex. At 18 years old, you're driven by sex. At 19 years old, you're driven by sex. And for you to act like sex does not control you, you are very, 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 very wrong. It can go from abhorrent sex to John Wayne Gacy and Son of Sam, or it can go to sex where you got willful women having sex with their husbands, videotaping them with other men in the same room. And that's called cuckolding. Stuff that's been going on since probably antiquity, but we could say from videos we can find videos going back to the 70s showing this type of behavior in France, in England, in non-American cities, and now it's over here in American cities. To the point now where we have what we call swinging clubs, which are clubs where a wife goes with her husband as they're on the brink of divorce, and they think that by having other partners in their relationship, they're going to make their marriage strong. Prime example, Einstein and Ghislaine. Ghislaine was a white woman that got with a wealthy millionaire, and was basically, with all due respect, this person literally was like, quote unquote, getting poor white women in rich Boca Raton, Florida. We're talking rich Jewish, rich, wealthy people, Edomites, all down there in South Florida, Republican South Florida, where all that money from New York City comes down to. And they were using these girls. And this lady, Ghislaine, just got arrested and I think will be convicted because the guy who was a multi-billionaire was using other women to basically give him hand jobs and sexual jobs, and using them because of the perversion that we're talking about. So when I'm saying the perversion of the spectrum, can go all the way from the perversion of Ghislaine and Estein to the perversion of murder and sadomasochism, beating up a woman, choking a woman, stabbing a woman, killing a woman. And then there's the middle, where most of us people are at. Well, we know we'll never go to the left or to the right. We want to be in the middle. And we think that this is wrong. We will never be a monster in the shadows. We will never look at people like they're dirt. We would never hurt someone and put ourselves in a situation, because, thank God, we learn about the Lord, and we learn about God, and we learn about right and wrong from the commandments of the Word of God. And we fell in love with God, and we realized, my God, how could I? How dare I do that to somebody else? But at the same time, we say there's a devil, and he is very powerful, and he can make people do horrific things. And if we don't pray for them and ask God for help, those individuals are in trouble. So in this situation, this young girl, she moves to Tennessee. She finds a white woman. I think it was Murfreesboro. Now, let me tell you something. If you go look up the actual statistics, Murfreesboro, Tennessee has a small number of black people compared to Memphis and compared to Nashville. Now, why do I gotta say black? Because we are the second race on United States soil. It was whites, or the Europeans, then it was blacks, then the Hispanics were pushed out in the Mexico War and the Spanish War, until now they're coming back, right? And when you look up Murfreesboro, Tennessee, the population of black people in Murfreesboro in 2020 was 27,000. 27,000 out of how many? Let's go look up. Let's go look it up. What's the percentage? 18%. It's 71% white. So when this white woman moves to Murfreesboro, in her mind, she was never in her wildest expectation thinking, I'm going to even touch a black man. She's 22. She hadn't even the idea that I would even touch a black man. Well, what's going to end up coming out in this case? Not only did she touch a black man, she had sex with a black man. And now we're about to find out who is the killer of this woman. Is it a white man or is it a black man? Because we can say the Hispanic person not even in the middle of it. If she was in Texas, it might be Hispanic, but she left Texas to go to Murfreesboro. And I believe she left Texas to go to Murfreesboro because, like a lot of white women, she was proud to be white. And Tennessee is predominantly white. Let's call a spade a spade. Okay? Now let's keep playing.
Go shopping, get manicures, just the typical girly stuff.
While Heather is thriving with work and friends,
That's her so-called best friend right there. Now, she's the only one that can speak for her because when she moves up to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, she doesn't make a lot of friends. She should be in college, University of Murfreesboro, going to school. But what she ended up moving up there for was a dick. She moved up to there for a man. Well, when she looked at her mom, she saw her mom chasing penises. So why wouldn't she? That's why being a parent is so important. And I respect my mama even more when she decides to, quote unquote, say that I'll have sex with guys, but I will never marry you. But the reality is, the moment you have sex with a man for 10 years, for 15 years, you are married to him. Whether you want to admit it or not, the moment you have this man come up to your bedroom every night, once a month at night for 5 years, you're married to the guy. We just don't see it. And you think that by him coming at 10 o'clock when we're asleep and leaving at 5 o'clock when we're asleep, that makes it good. That's a sin, Mom. And I have to call a spade to my dead mother. But I call that to anybody's dead mom or live mom if they do that kind of behavior. So I refuse to do that to any woman. After growing up that way, I said to myself, I will not allow myself to get in a relationship with... Sorry, my thing is acting stupid right now. Don't know why. Got to restart my Amazon Prime. Sometimes you have to restart and close these things. 1 second. Go here, press the close. Okay. Go to here and turn off these programs. Force stop that. Force stop that. Anything else that's on? Force stop that. Anything else is on. And force stop that. Okay. So that was the problem. My Amazon had too many programs running. And then restart everything. So this girl right here, who is pretty herself with makeup on, you can see it all on her. She got makeup on her face, makeup on her lips. She lives with makeup, caked on, her eyes, everything. She's probably not pretty without the makeup. The one that's at the bottom. You hear her talk, and you're going to hear jealousy come out of her voice. I'm here to tell you, when you listen to her speak, you'll notice there's going to be some jealousy coming out of her voice about her dead so-called friend.
in April,
Now look at her. She's pretty. Without makeup, she is definitely gorgeous. She's what we consider as Kevin Samuels would mark her fresh face out of the shower. She'd be an 8 without makeup. Okay?
her relationship with Chaz begins to crumble.
Heather and her boyfriend, they split up, and he moved out, and she was able to keep her apartment.
So right there we have an issue. How is she able to, first off, let a man, they get an apartment together. And so this is her mom. He moves out or breaks the lease. She keeps the lease. Shout out to that. So she got the apartment. The good thing about Chaz so far is Chaz seems like he was a man that when y'all break up, you break up. So like when I broke up with my ex-girlfriend, Marianne, it was hard. We were 1,000 miles apart. But I didn't go fly to her city because I wanted to beg her to come back with me. I did fly to her city once, and that was 6 months after we broke up. And by then, she had already was dating an African, two Africans in the same tribe in Africa. She could be with somebody. This is the sick part about her as a woman. But a lot of women are this way. If they want something, they don't need sex. They will be with a man that could be 1,000 miles to 2,000 miles away. But what she wanted more than everything was she wanted an African. And so because he's an African and an African chief, and she's supposed to be as a missionary, she thinks I'm going to become an African princess because I marry into this African tribe. They're under the Deuteronomy 28 curse, baby. And the fact of the matter is you're paying, and she is paying. And regardless of what it looks like now as far as the marriage, tragically, she will pay because her motive was wrong. No matter what. Ignorance doesn't matter. It's the Deuteronomy 28 curse. In this situation, we're going to find out what happens. She goes buck wild. Now, she goes buck wild. She goes and she starts having sex with a few guys.
I think there's been a homicide here.
So this is her being photographed, and this is all a part of court records. Now, remember, when you come on TV, every time you looked upon, you're on court records, you can see she's not a very pretty girl. She's highlighted her bottom hair, highlight her eyes, put lipstick on her lips that don't even match her eyeshadow. You can see the eyes are set way back in her head, so that lets you know she's about 40, okay? Like us that are older, her eyes set back. Now, if this girl is 22, what year was this? I don't know the answer to this because looking at this girl, it seems to me like she's a little bit older than 22. We go back later on, we'll have to figure out, was this girl, how can they be together? 22-year-olds don't hang out with 50-year-olds unless they're looking for a mama figure. And maybe she was because her mom was in Texas with her baby that has autistic needs.
I'm Detective Sergeant Tommy Massey with the Murfreesboro Police Department.
All right, so here's Detective Massey. He's going to come in and skip. We're going to skip down. And now I want you to look at this little part right here. You come back to her. And you're going to hear her talk about this young girl. Now look at her eye. You can't see this sitting back just yet. But once you close the eyelids down, you see how far the eyes have set back in the head.
Wing from there on out.
He becomes someone we wanted to have a conversation with about her death. Did something trigger him? Was this an act of aggression? And those are some things we wanted to know.
Before police can track down Chaz, something unexpected happens at the crime scene.
A young man came just about bursting through the crime scene. His name was Michael, and he was very determined to either get inside that tape, get inside that scene.
It's not uncommon in some cases that you will have suspects come back to the scene and interject themselves into the investigation.
Michael also shares an alarming piece of information.
The interesting part was that he had Heather's keys. No one forced themselves into her apartment, and she's dead. So certainly that's somebody we want to have a conversation with, and So
now let's look at what we're going to find out. I'm going to tell you where this could go. I don't know yet where it's going to go, but I'm going to tell you. This guy is the beta male. His name is Michael. He looks like a female because he's skinny, he's tall, he looks like a female. In a sexual marketplace value, this is, I had a friend of mine named David, when I was in college with, looked just like him. They are the nerds. I'm a nerd as well, but they're nerds in a different way. There's white boy nerds, and there's black nerds, and there's Asian nerds, all kind of nerds. Nerds are considered people that are sexually not desirable. Nerds are people that until they are taught about sexuality, they got to go buy it. They got to get prostitutes. Nerds are people that doesn't realize that how we dress, what we wear, what we say, and when we say it, and how we say it, all important parts of sexual chemistry. And nerds also are Christians like myself who are told don't have sex with a woman because you're supposed to wait till you get married. So you become an awkward guy. You become a guy that you are not able to get married because of Deuteronomy 28 curse on your mom, dad, and family members and yourself. You're studying the Word of God in my situation to learn about God, to learn about the Word. But then at the same time, as you're getting more and more spiritual, you're getting less and less sexual. So that means a woman doesn't want to have your child, meaning she don't want to have you inside of her, meaning you're not getting no vagina. So now you're frustrated because you're becoming so spiritually minded, you're no sexually good. And nobody actually sits down and takes that time to show you the balance. I was in church for a long time, and not one person ever said that. You know what they said to us? Don't masturbate. Every man's battle. Don't look at porn. Don't masturbate. Don't look at porn. Don't masturbate. Don't look at porn. Don't masturbate. Don't look at porn. Problem is, the reason why people need porn and look at porn is because they don't want to go out and kill somebody in a fit of sexual rage. What this case is going to be, I believe, is this guy right here is going to be the killer. And it's going to be sexual rage. We don't know yet. This was 2015. We're in 2023 right now. So this is a brand new case. This guy, if he's the one, is going to be in sexual rage. But what's going to make this case interesting? The interracial dynamic. And that is going to be because the woman decides at 22 years old, I am going to have sex with a black man. Now remember, black people only 18% of the population of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And this guy is not going to be an upper echelon black that went to the University of Murfreesboro, if there is one. I think there's probably University of Knoxville at Murfreesboro. Let's see. And that's understandable. Blacks were slaves. So you got to understand that blacks were slaves. Why would they be a large, and there was no jobs there for them after the Civil War. Why would they be there? Only because they were poor and they couldn't get out to this day. And they're still stuck there. So there's a school called Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee State, MTSU. And it was founded in 1911. It's the only school. So instead of going to Middle Tennessee State and getting herself a degree, this girl goes and lives with a guy. And instead of living in the dorms, being in sorority, going through the process, still having sex, still meeting guys, but at least her academics will be her focus, hopefully. And being what her mama said that she wanted her, what she wanted to be, she gets with a guy named Chaz. Chaz, of course, they break up, so we don't see Chaz. This is after the breakup with Chaz. Chaz left that apartment, and now she's meeting other guys. But what is she doing? And this is the Kevin Samuels argument. This is what Kevin Samuels says, and I completely agree with this, and this is my personal one-on-one opinions. Kevin Samuels said this, and at 38 minutes and 56 seconds, I will say this. At 38:56, Kevin Samuels stated that if you're a woman and you don't have no inner interest in having a sexual relationship with a guy, don't date them. Don't take them out. Don't use them for food. Don't use them for anything. Don't use them for nothing. I want you to listen to this interview between the cops and this guy, who, as I said, had gotten the keys of her place. And instead of her saying, wait, where are my keys? She goes into the house and lets him keep the keys. Anybody in common sense know the first thing we always do, and when we get out of any cars, we what? We feel for the keys. She wasn't drunk. Well, she was at first. She was a black guy. And then she calls this white guy in. He comes to rescue her from the black guy that she was having sex with, Octavio. 22-year-old now. I was in college. I saw 22-year-olds interracially having sex all day at OU. I was in the dorms. When you were 18 to 22, you were having sex. By the time you're 22, you're an expert at having sex for most 8, 9s, and 10s. Now, if you are a 3 or a 2 or a 1 on sexual market value, no. But if you're a 7, 8, 9, and 10, by the time you're out of college, you have had a couple of people shoot up the club. The only question is, are you on the pill or not? Because that'll determine whether you had an abortion or not.
Got him back to our offices pretty quick.
He seemed pretty upset and despondent over the fact that his friend was deceased.
How do you know Heather?
I met her at the bar.
This is going to be rude, but I got to ask it because that sometimes details are important, sometimes they're not.
Did you see the body language? I met her at the bar. I met her at the bar. That's how white people meet in 99.9% of the time. There are some stupid blacks that do the same thing. We call them club. We don't call it the bar, we say the club. But blacks do it, it's the same thing. I met her at the bar. I met her at the club.
The first night you met her, did you have sex with her?
I did not. I've never had any contact other than a hug. I've never even kissed her.
So you
saw that? I never even kissed her. I didn't even, he wanted to really bad. But he had a girlfriend. Watch, just you're gonna hear it. The girl, one of the victim's best friends said he was dating somebody else. But she was playing on. The victim was playing on. She was manipulating him as well, sexually tempting him with her vagina.
You never had sex with her?
Never. Okay.
Michael may have had a little crush on her, but at the same time, he had a girlfriend, and I don't know if he ever acted on any of his feelings.
Michael then reveals that before Heather was murdered, he spent much of the evening with her.
What was the story on that?
Yesterday, she asked me if I was off work because she said she was hungry. I was like, cool, let's go to Old Chicago. Went to Old Chicago.
According to Michael, after dinner, he went home, while Heather went to a local bar with friends. But later that evening, she reached out for help.
She called me at 11:40.
So 11:40 she calls you?
Yes. And she tells me that I need to come to the bar. She really needs me right now.
You hear that bullish? Yeah, I definitely have the mic on. Hopefully the back of it shouldn't be a background. I turned this volume down perfect. First off, you got a girlfriend, but then you're gonna leave at 11:40 your girlfriend when you should be at her house, talking to her, coming from work, on the phone with your baby, your girlfriend that you're cheating on mentally. You're gonna go 11:40 and don't expect to take your girl with you. First off, that woman should have known you had a girlfriend and not even attempted to come at you that way. But she knew what she wanted. She knew that he wanted that ussy. He wanted the ussy. And the fact is, because of that made him, and we're going to find out in a minute, did he kill her or not? I'm going to fast forward. I want to get to the end. I like going back because I can watch this and I can see what happens. And the buffering is working really good, praise the Lord. And we can find out what happened in this case. I love that my computer is actually doing really well with downloading the data. Let's go.
Anything other than he'd not been there. At the end of the interview, we asked him to consent to DNA because we told him it could clear the case if he wasn't truly there.
And I want you to just take one at a time. You're going to basically stick it on first on your right cheek, swirl it around.
While investigators await the results of the test, based on the strength of the fingerprint evidence, they make their move.
So now it changes. We got a fingerprint in blood. And it's an African-American man who is 6 feet tall. Or could be 6 feet tall. And now his fingerprint is in blood. It changed everything, don't it? What I said at the beginning, I gave you a thought because I had watched the full episode and I'm watching it as we're talking. So I did not know exactly what was going to be the actual issue. Who was going to be the killer. So the first penis that's African that she touches ends up being her killer. He states he wasn't there, but they got a bright red fingerprint in blood. Now here's the catch. She called him to come over. And did he come over after the murder happened? And the other guy did it or not? We gotta find out, man. These cases go in multiple ways, bro. They go. You don't know until the end. So let's go.
Basically, would not tell us anything that we needed to know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. At this time, Brandon, you're being charged with first-degree murder in the death of Heather Maples. Okay.
Tragic. Black man.
He was subsequently charged with first-degree murder that night.
Deuter 28.
To build their case, police file a subpoena to access Brandon's phone. Detective Massey then makes a call.
It was uplifting, calling Miss Hunter and telling her, I just booked a man in the jail that may have murdered your daughter.
So this black man gets
because at least at some point,
arrested, and nobody
maybe she
wants
found
to be
comfort
arrested.
in that.
I don't ever want to ever be arrested. I was arrested once, I don't want to be arrested ever again.
Detective Massey called me to let me know that he had caught someone.
Now the problem is, why
and it was a sigh of relief.
Well, the answer is
but again,
maybe
we
he saw
had
the
no
dead
idea
body,
who he
touched
was
her,
or why did he
and
do
felt
it.
blood. Now his fingerprints are there.
I mean, that's the
maybe
one
he was
question
like, "Ooh, I'm
that
coming to get me some
I
pussy."
still have is why.
And she's dead on the bed on her stomach. We got to find out the root here. Watch the rest.
When investigators gain access to Brandon's phone, however, they gain chilling insight into his motive.
This is a perfect example of the things you can't unsee. What was in that phone will be with us for the rest of our lives.
Really? So he is the killer. He is the killer. So this is a sick African under Deuteronomy 28. This the spectrum I was talking about earlier.
Suspect Brandon Bowling.
This guy's a perverted sexual predator.
The video from the cell phone of Brandon Richmond Bowling was one of the most shocking videos I have ever seen in my career.
Sick.
You could see the room of Heather
I'm
Nicole
so glad
Maples.
that this guy
you could see the
deserved to
bed.
die. Yes,
you could see Heather Nicole
sexual
Maples
perverted men
being
that
raped.
kill other people deserve
And
to
you
die.
knew that at this time she was alive. It was obvious she had been beaten and she was suffering. The thing that struck me the most was that I was watching the final moments of the life of Heather Nicole Maples.
Jesus. All because of sex.
As parents, you want to know what happened to your child. So you have to ask the question, how did she die? Be careful what you ask for.
Damn
because
right.
the answer you get is horrifying.
Damn right it is.
It's awful.
Yes, it is. Sick fuck.
And I think about how lucky we were to get a bloody fingerprint on a bed. Had we not got the fingerprint back, I don't know. Maybe we would have caught him. Maybe we wouldn't have. I don't know. There's always the possibility that we wouldn't have. And maybe somewhere down the line continue to do what he did.
In February 2018, Brandon Bowling pleads guilty to the murder and rape of Heather Maples. He is sentenced to 40 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
40, that's it?
The day that the plea deal was signed,
That's it?
I read a victim impact statement. I viewed that statement as the last time that I would be able to speak for my child and what her loss meant to us.
40 years with no parole? That means
I
all he
forgive
does
Brandon
is
Bolden
40
for
years.
killing my daughter. From that day forward, I learned, don't worry about anything, pray about
Life
everything.
sentence.
It in no way meant that I forgot what he had done. I'm supposed to forgive, and so that's what I did.
I tell you, there was hardly a dry eye in that courtroom.
Let's talk about that for a moment. And I'm a Christian, I'm a man of God. Does God command you to forgive? Yes. Does God command you to forgive at the sentencing only 2 years after the crime was committed? No. We understand that tragedies, obvious, we're looking at a TV show that's based on real life. We understand that tragedies happen. But what I'm saying is that your forgiveness of that person is between you and God. God knows your heart. And what you say in public don't matter. Because you can say whatever you want to say in public. God knows your heart. He knows whether you tell the truth or you're lying. So please don't say I forgive you to somebody who killed your child. Prime example. I had a girlfriend named Denise Lavon Gordy. I love Denise. Denise was my baby. Okay? She was my girl. Met her at Georgia Military College, Millersville, Georgia. And she said she loved me. I said I loved her. But I never would have thought a couple years later she'd become a felon, to become a killer, become a murderer. That's exactly what Denise ended up becoming. There's no way in God's green earth I could tell you that she would be. But the fact is, she was convicted September 1996 of killing her own daughter. She showed no mental illness. I wouldn't have dated her if she did. I dated her. She got into Georgia Military College and was a student, and we met in class in Western Civ. How does a mentally ill girl get into college? But they gave her a 40-year life sentence. Don't know why I didn't say that. Now, if you're convicted back in 96, if you got a life sentence, you can get out in 14 years. So she got out in 14 years in 2012. So I checked her status, and she's still on parole. She will never get off parole. When you look at her picture, that is the beautiful woman I fell in love with. That is a woman I wanted to marry. I loved her, man. I loved her. I would drive to Sandusville, Georgia, from Millersville, Georgia, through past from Macon, Georgia. And for me, it felt like I was going home. My mama's home. My mom was born in Macon, Georgia. My grandmama was born in Macon, Georgia. Sandusville, Georgia, a couple miles north of Macon, Georgia. Why not marry a woman that's from Sandusville, Georgia? In my life, I'm from the South. Why not marry someone from the South? I loved her. But unfortunately, her love did not stop her for doing something unthinkable. And after she committed murder, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, the case was sealed, I guess. And to this day, I don't know all the rules. I don't know what happened. I guess I don't want to know, to be honest with you. I mean, it's been so many years have passed. But I can truly say that she was a beautiful woman that I would have married. But guess what? I cheated on her. I went to a different town. A white woman was there. She threw herself at me. I threw myself at her. I wanted to be inside other vaginas. And I looked at this girl that had a child, kind of down. I looked down on her because she didn't, in my mind, have that desire to go get a degree, to do right for her baby. She kind of was a pity party, kind of sad woman. I didn't really look at it at that time and say, man, was she mentally ill at that time? But that's looking back on it, she was. But in this case right here, that's a different type of murderer than this black man who thought that he was going to rape and kill somebody. And after he's sitting there being convicted, he is looking like, just a sick. So angry at this man, I want to kill him myself. Just take the life out of him, you know? Like you took the life out of that woman. And she's a white woman, but she could be a black woman. She could be any woman. There's other cases on this TV show that hurt your heart besides just this one. But this blew me away. Because as you watch it at the very beginning, they did this on purpose. You don't know who did it.
Had some concern about because he felt like he was being a little too, I guess, pushy with Miss Maples that night in the bar about trying to maybe have some advances toward her.
Shortly after the incident, Michael suggested taking Heather home.
We walked out the door. She's like, hey, I want to handle bar. I'm hungry. Will you take me there? I said, sure. She orders a biscuit, gravy, eggs, 2 eggs, and sausage. And we sat there. When she was done, I drove her to her apartment, dropped her off. I watched her walk up the stairs, and she was like, okay.
He estimated that time to be approximately 2:30 a.m. the morning of August 7th, and that
I gotta pick him up. I gotta call him. So what you just heard was at 2:30 in the morning. We know that is called the F time of the night. Everybody and their mama knows this. Everybody and their mama knows this. I heard this from Kevin Samuels, broke it out so well. Basically, the way life works in every town of America is between 11 and 2:30 is what we call party night. Clubs at 1:30 give the last call for alcohol. And not just clubs, but everywhere. And then what happens, you go get something to eat. That's what happened in this case right here. This white woman gets with a black guy and has sex with him. She doesn't vet him to find out his history. She just gives up the vagina. So now he is already a guy that because she didn't vet, she doesn't realize he's got a serious anger problem to the point where he will kill. Now the point I want to make sure I state emphatically is this.
We walked out the door.
She calls her so-called beta male friend
to the bar. She really
which is this guy right here,
now.
her beta male.
There's people hitting on her, and she's really upset.
She doesn't tell the truth to the beta male. My ex-lover or my so-called lover or my booty call or my friends with benefits wants to mess with me, but I don't want him tonight. He made me mad. So I'm going to call you beta male to come help me. Because I know I got a ussy and everybody want it. Women do this every day. So then what happens? Well, we know what happens. He's angry now. You got somebody to come and you got somebody to take you away from me. How dare you do this? Da, 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 da. Okay? The beta male who is a good guy, he goes and he buys her food to the point where he remembers everything that the girl ate. Because I promise you, she had no money because he said she had no keys, which meant she had no wallet, which meant she had no purse. Everybody and mama know that as a woman, you go out with a damn purse. How do you keep your cell phone? But what did the woman do? They don't do this. Remember, this is white Murfreesboro, Tennessee, white world. People go outside and women think, well, hey, all I need is my phone. I'm going to get a whole bunch of money, food. I'm always going to find me a beta male that I can use. So what does the girl end up doing? The girl calls that same guy that upped her very good before, because she can't find any sexual attraction for the nice guy beta male. And this is an African American. The tragic part is that she picked the worst African American out of the 9% of African American men in that damn area. You know why? Thug. She picked bad people. I'm here to say that she is partly responsible for her own death. There are certain situations where the victim is not responsible at all. And in some situations where the victim is responsible. Chaz, the white guy that she moved to Tennessee, got to feel like Ish. Because he got to go, dang, man. The girl that I met that came to Tennessee to be with me, we break up and she's dead because she went out and have sex with somebody else. But he's got to also say, you know what? That's her dumb ass. You chose who you opened your legs to. And you did. And I'm sorry, I'm a minister and I cursed. Forgive me. But we got to be open and we got to be honest to our members. Because if I'm going to get a person into the kingdom of God, but I'm going to lie to them and not tell them how the real world works, why would they need to be saved? What's the benefit of them being saved? We're supposed to be wiser than those who live out there in the world, not dumber.
I was like, okay, I'll be there.
We learned from Michael in the interview, there was a situation where she was being, if you want to call it, harassed by the young man by the name of Artavio.
He was calling her around and touching her, and I was like, man, why don't you leave her alone?
Michael had some concern
Think
about
about
it because he felt
now
like
let's get into that part. The touching. As I will say this, and this is a very truthful statement. What I'm about to say is going to be a little bit rated R, so I'm not going to, I'm going to say this not for kids. But a woman can have sex with a man and not touch him. Let me make sure I'm clear about that. A woman could have sex with a man and not touch him. What do you mean by that? Here's what I mean. You can be a person. We'll echo there. Not too much echo. You can be a person. Ooh, wow, time like that. Now stop that. Delay. You can be a person that has sex with somebody, and the only thing that is inside, only thing that's touching is a penis and a vagina. Don't think that because the penis and vagina are having intercourse, that you are actually becoming one with the other person. It is just a simple transaction for some. Sex is a simple transaction. What I mean by that is this. It is a simple transaction. I don't care for women that are born, that are beautiful. It is a simple transaction. There is a relationship that has to happen in the mind between both people before the intercourse can be phenomenal. By far. That's why when you look at girls that have sex as porn stars or women that are mistresses, they can have sex with all people all day. But the fact of the matter is, if they don't have a quote-unquote intimate mental connection between the person that they're having sex with, it is basically, and they already accepted that, meaning that the girl says, listen, I am basically now they call it, I call them porn star. I'm a porn star. I have sex with many, many men. I get paid for it by streaming. I do OnlyFans videos. People buy my OnlyFans videos. We're talking the Kim Kardashian effect now. And that I don't mind sharing my sexual interactions. I mean, all the way to anal sex. Of course, there's a whole bunch of precursors like cleaning your butt and doing all that stuff, getting fecal matter out your anus. But all that is done before. But the point is, the videos show all of that. And again, these are people that are not in love. They're just having sex. How much the more can that woman, how much the more can that woman have sex with a black man, white man, red man? And the difference between the two is, in this case, this guy was a good guy. He comes into the rescue to try to save his girl. He wishes that he could have sex with her, right? He takes her keys to the door, doesn't even realize, oh, I got her car keys or house keys. How can she lock the damn house? So that's why he runs back up the next day. And he runs back up the next day, but he breaks through and sees the criminal crime scenes around. So he's like trying to break in and find out what happened to the girl that he almost could have made love to. But he didn't realize something. He didn't realize that she'd already set up her own death because she had had sex with another man. So even if she had had sex with this guy right here, the black guy that's right there hovering, she already gave her, that black guy that's hovering may have killed this dude too. There might be 2 dead people instead of 1. See my point? Her decisions open the door to her life. And how do we find out? The phone. So let's get to the truth where we get the phone. Now this guy right here is one guy, but there's the other guy. So let me see if it's the same guy. I saw 2 different guys, and he doesn't look like the other guy. So let's go back, and I want you to listen to what happened. Listen to this girl right here, and look at the picture. She's taking a picture with a black friend in 2015. Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Black people are 18% of the population. She's young. She's 22. You know how many young 22 white women are having interracial sex with black men? Thousands. Millions. Now again, when you compare it to the total population of couples, it might be 1%. But if there's 375 million, what's 1% of 375 million? Look at the look. Look at the look. It's almost a half of a smile. It's not a full grin, but it's not a evil hatred look either.
Yeah, that was it.
Listen to that. You saw what happened.
One of the concerns to
Go back to her statement.
And the Snapchat was a picture of her and Artavio at the bar. They both look, you know, like they've been having fun.
See how she said that? They both look like they've been having fun. Now, of course, we know what that means. You also notice she's covering up her marriage finger. You also notice that one thing about a woman, they let that ring finger know in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are a white woman and you're a Southern Belle, that you expect to be married by the time you are 25.
And so I went back to bed.
So why would she be in the bed while she's out? That's my point I wanted to bring up earlier. This girl was literally old enough to be her older sister. She wasn't out in the clubs. This girl said, I'm going to bed. Because 22-year-olds, they stay out late. But she should have had a person with her. She should have never been alone. She should have never had an apartment alone and not have backup.
That was the last thing that I ever received from Heather. Yeah, that was it.
One of the concerns to us was the Artavio gentleman because he had been with her that night. There had been a photograph of that.
What can you tell me about him?
I don't know a whole lot about him. He seems like a very nice guy. He's funny.
You got any idea why she would send you a picture of her and Octavio? Why that's a big deal?
I think she thinks they're pretty good friends.
Okay.
Like,
It's conceivable that her suspect.
And remember, she's 22. So in her mind, that is good friends. I'm a 22-year-old kid. You got to make sure you put that in the mindset of a 22-year-old. A 22-year-old is just a young kid that can that can uck. But it's still a 22-year-old. I was 16 when I had my first vagina, and I was having sex 16, 17, 18, 19, never stopped. Until I got born again at 21. And then for about 10 years, I didn't. Until I, got 10 years old in my 30s and was just angry because I'm so awkward, right? No girl wants me because I'm so spiritually minded. And everybody else, every girl I wanted to be with was so earthly good. It didn't connect. And I didn't understand why. Because I was that beta male. I didn't learn that until the last 5 years of my life. That I was a beta. I was a patsy. I was a bravo male. Alpha male is the man that gets the women. The beta male is the man that does not.
They could likely be in her phone. Who do you tell your secrets to? Now you tell your secrets to your cell phone.
Having not yet gained access to Heather's...
As you can see, she's junky like all of us would be. Young 22-year-old, living by herself, never really had to learn cleanliness. I know, I was there.
device. Detectives turned to Kelsey for help.
The detectives said, we've tried everybody. We've tried Heather's mom to get her passcode. Do you know it? And I said, yeah, actually, I do. I was the only person who knew it. So they were elated.
When we went through Heather's phone, we were able to start piecing together a timeline of her last few minutes.
Around the same time Michael claims he dropped her off, Heather sent a message to a name that investigators recognize.
She did have a text message in the late morning hours that she had reached out to that gentleman, Artavio.
So now she calls Artavio over for a 2:30 uck. Yeah, she already been having sex with Chase, Chaz, the first guy that she moved to Tennessee for, and now she's chasing the black penis that she's getting upped with at 2:30. Now remember, this is the same Artavio that was messing with her earlier at the club. And it seems like this Octavio, which we find out later was the killer, not only did he come over just to have sex, he murdered her and threw his own life away. Only a person under Deuteronomy 28 would do some shit like that.
Asking him to come over to the apartment. Did he drive over and kill her?
So sad. So sad. Beautiful girl, man. She's dead now.
When investigators examined
This can happen
Heather
to a
Maples'
black woman.
phone,
That's why I care about
they
this so
discover
much.
she texted her friend Octavio, inviting him to her apartment hours before she was found murdered.
It was one of the last ones she sent out. At least we know she was alive at this time because she reached out to him. That he could have been the last person with her. We wanted to talk to him in case he was involved.
I want you to see what you see in this
Octavio.
photo.
Didn't know Heather.
The guy she was ucking wasn't the dude that's sitting close. It's this guy right here that's highlighted. They won't show his face until later on. But then there's another guy that's right there next to her. So she ain't just talking to this guy. She also tempting this guy. So it's like two black guys she tempting, besides the white guys that want her too. This gets really dangerous. As I'm saying, dog, interracial relationships. Is it worth it?
I don't know the depth of that relationship. We knew that he had been with Heather throughout the night.
Okay, all right. What did you do yesterday afternoon?
I went and hung out with Heather. We drank some tequila, and then we went to gyms for a while.
So right off the top of the dome, they go right to alcohol. They're drunk right to alcohol and then a fuck. This is one of the things I'm so grateful for, that I never, when I got close to that realm of going to this realm this guy's in, I got saved. I'm so grateful. Because that's how a lot of black people and white people meet. And that's how a lot of babies are conceived. They're conceived off tequila. We drink, we go to a friend's place, then we go back to the apartment, we up, oops, I'm pregnant. That's it. And in a good way, it might turn into a marriage, and most of the time it don't. Now, this is not the guy that got arrested. So this will change. I said earlier in the video that I thought it was a white guy, the beta male, that would have got arrested. But they interviewed him, but they're going to interview somebody else who's a lot shorter. And this will be the guy who we never saw coming. And he's the guy that's a beta male too, but he's a beta male that's angry that he didn't get selected by the white girl he wanted, so he chose to kill her. These are the spectrums I'm talking about. Like I said, Son of Sam, masochistic murderer, right? On one end of the spectrum, they hate women, right? On the other end, you got the beta male, the angry person that we call them now the red pill. Could red pills become Son of Sams? Yeah, they could. But most of the time, red pills you would never think would be a Son of Sam. They're not going to say they had a dog tell them to talk to them.
Who was Heather?
A friend of mine.
We pulled him in to interview him. We realized that he didn't know that she had died. And so
Wow.
we used it to our advantage to see if is it going to change his answers to the questions.
I'll show you a picture, okay? Do you have any idea when that would have been taken?
It was a little bit before we left to go to gyms.
Who took that picture?
She took it.
Do you know if it was posted or sent to anybody?
It was on Snapchat.
Massey then asks about Heather's late-night text.
If Heather says that you came back over after she got home, would we believe that not to be true?
Yeah, I didn't show back up over there. Heather texted me at like 2:30 or something.
Can I see the text?
Yeah, but I was already asleep. I saw it this morning.
Sometimes a lie is just as good as the
Okay, so now it changes up. So he says, I was asleep. So she threw the booty call out. This is what we call the booty call by Bill Bellamy, the famous booty call at 2:30. He says, I'm asleep. But she was willing to give that dick to this dude, okay? So he says, is he telling the truth or is he lying? Well, actually, this guy was telling the truth. He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. I had to salute him. Because most cases, you caught lying, bro. And when you got a young 22-year-old vagina that you can impregnate, she already decided to cross the boundaries of no return. She went interracial. And she pretty. She left a white man for a black man. You know how some black guys will get, ooh, I got me a white B. I got me a white B. I took her from a white man. Remember, there's a lot of black guys out there that would love, L-O-V-E, love to have a woman that is a white woman.
Truth. If you provide me with certain names of people you were with or locations you were at, and we can't verify that, then why would you be dishonest or untruthful in a case like this?
People saw you go in the apartment. Phone records put you at the apartment. You were with her yesterday. Your picture was with her, okay? Because here's what I'm going to tell you at this point, Tate. I believe she texted you to come back over there. You went over there, and then something happened.
No.
And not only was this girl raped, she's dead.
What? No way.
Yes way, okay? And here's what I'm going to tell you. There's DNA all over that girl. It's going to come back, I believe, to one Mr. Tate.
I'll come back to me.
Once the interview had concluded, we asked him if he would submit to a DNA test. He provided buccal swabs that we collected.
As detectives wait for the lab results, they investigate Artavio's version of events.
As we say, everybody's a suspect until they're not. But we were able to determine that he did not respond because he had actually been with someone else, which made it easier to corroborate his story.
There it is.
So we kind of marked him off the list as a suspect at that time.
He did
but
not
at
go.
the same token, you're like, oh, it's kind of bad because right now we're back to square one again.
Yes, you are. Watch
Over
this.
the next few days, detectives circle
Now,
back
come
to
up to
Heather's list of friends
a black beta male,
in search
a white
of
beta
new
male
leads.
and a black beta male in this situation.
And one name keeps coming up.
You got the mysterious Brandon guy from the bar, Could he have something to do with it? And could he have known where she lived? Could he be involved?
And it was interesting looking at everyone's notes where Brandon was written down, or Brandon that was circled. And then later Brandon was circled twice.
A Brandon. No
But
one
something
expected a
puzzles
Brandon.
investigators. With all the accounts of that night, Brandon has never been placed with Heather.
We didn't feel like we were at a total dead end, but we'd worked pretty much for 7 straight days nonstop on this case. Hadn't taken very many breaks, hadn't slept a lot.
Every day we had calls with the detective. He was very good at keeping us up to date. But it almost feels like you're living one of those TV shows.
You are.
I was angry.
You're in a TV
I
show
was
right
sad.
now,
I was
ma'am.
frustrated.
True crime.
It's amazing how that relationship with a victim's family can drive you when you're tired, fatigued, frustrated. We worked for Jennifer at that point. And we
Tragic.
wanted to make sure that we did everything that we
But
could to make
Jennifer
sure that at
put her
some
own
point she could
self
find
in
peace.
this. Jennifer put her own self in this.
On
Sorry.
the 8th day of the investigation, as Detective Massey
They got
prepares
around
to leave the
area that
office,
she was
his
having
plans
sex with
are
black
interrupted.
guys.
That afternoon, I got a phone call from one of the directors down at the TBI crime lab. We had received a hit
And the hardest part,
on the
of course,
fingerprint that was
women
submitted from
always
the bed.
attack us men for attacking them. And the reality
Belonged
is,
to the mysterious Brandon.
it's a double standard.
His
I gotta be
fingerprints had been
honest.
previously submitted into
It's
the
a double
APHIS
standard.
system
I
by the
can't
company that he was seeking employment with, and that they had had a match to the one we had submitted from the bloody fingerprint on the bed.
Once we got that fingerprint back, now all of a sudden this Brandon came into full focus and became the center of the investigation. Where does he work? Is he going to school? Who is Brandon?
Tragic. And that's what did to kill him. And you never saw him coming. That's
8
why
days after finding Heather Mabel's body,
open as honest.
police discover that a
This shit happens every day. And don't let it happen to you. This girl was stupid. I understand she wanted to enjoy the interracial dick. I get it. There are women out there right now who are doing it as we speak. But you need to vet the person that you're with sexually. You need to vet their family being. Remember, every relationship can turn into a murder, so do your due diligence to make sure. Do your due diligence to make sure that you have vetted that person. Oh, they brought back 12.5 again. It wasn't there before. Yeah, there's 12.5, but it wasn't there before. I swear to God, it wasn't there. Now they're saying we only get 3 days with this. It's all right. 3 days is better than 5. That's okay. Ready in 14 minutes. So I would say, as it relates to this young girl, anybody can take good photos, but she's an 8. And as Kevin Samuels, a market woman, you can see what I mean. There's some guys that we know we can't get. The reason why this man killed this woman is because, like Kevin Samuels, thank God, may you rest in peace. Kevin Samuels broke this down as sexual marketplace value, my friend. And for those that don't know what sexual marketplace value is, it may be a new term that'll be online by now, but if not, I will make it and I'll put it online. Sexual market value. You see it pops up? And what it is the individual's mating value, the sum of his looks, status, social dating skills, personal qualities, fitness, external resources. This is called the sexual market value. Kevin Samuels brought this out so many times. And so when you look at the male sexual market value long term, let's look at it. All right? These are assessments of what we are. There's always a guy trying to sell some crap, so we got to get past this BS crap. If they don't, I will turn it off. All right, bye. You just got effed. I will turn you off. Other people, I don't have to go to you, brother. So if you see them when they always put those little pop-ups, just back away. You can actually go to Urban Dictionary and get that term. But what it means is our sexual market value, and it's a simple equation. Attractiveness plus social status plus style, nose length, didn't even know about that, weight, height, and I'm not sure what C. C equals car type. Oh, okay, car type equals sexual market value. Now, growing up, we never, ever was told about sexual market value. So growing up as a black man, we don't know that if we don't have a high level of sexual market value, meaning, did I have a car, a truck? No. I didn't have my first car until I was, I'm talking about a brand new car. I bought it with my own money. 2016. It's 2023. So I had a low sexual marketplace value. And that's because of Deuteronomy 28 and the curses that I put on myself, that Deuteronomy put on me, both all together. So that's this. These are this is back in 2006. Someone put this out, so it's been out for a long time. Okay, now that's the Urban Dictionary. If you go sexual market value, Kevin Samuels, it pops up with no question, and you can have him talk about it on one of his channels. He has a 3-minute video where a woman is even talking about it. And we'll listen to her right now disagree against his statement. Listen.
Research shows nostalgia can help you remember ads.
Look at her
So
market.
customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
And judge her sexual marketplace value.
Building your online business?
We judge it by
Go to Wix.com and set up your
Hi, I'm Dr. Jamaica. Today I'm talking about everyone's favorite image consultant, Kevin Samuels. So, everyone hates him, but why? Today I want to talk about his whole...
Everyone does not hate him. Let me make sure I state that. Everyone does not hate him. So right there, Dr. Jamaica made this little video way back in a year ago, and he died about 4 months after. And I wonder what she's saying now, but I won't subscribe to her. I'm not going to give her any subscriptions. But no offense, you look at her and you ask, what do you think her sexual marketplace value is? 30-year-old, overweight, fat arms, okay? Just being honest, she's about a 5. When Kevin Samuels would have people come on his show, he would ask them to rate themselves, and he'd rate them. He was doing what people do in upper echelon white communities all day. Just blacks never saw it before. But people that are not in my class, that are above my class, do this. They work out. They do the exercises. He stated, people like me that don't want to work out need to go get paid for a gym. Don't buy no assault bike. Don't buy no weight bench. Don't buy no treadmill. You're never going to use it anyway because you don't have no habits. But what did I do? I bought them things anyway. And what is going on? For 7 years, they've been collecting dust. See my point? He was right.
Whole concept of the sexual marketplace value. So if you've ever watched any of his YouTube shows, you'll see that one of the concepts that he has is about, for women, what is your sexual marketplace value? In other words, what is...
On both sides. And the other part is, she never looked up to find out, do they say it on both? All I did was do a simple look up in Google and saw that this came out way before Kevin Samuels.
Your value on the dating market.
I noticed she's got a ring on her finger. So she's overweight, she's married, and she still let her value drop. Blame it on the babies, blame it on jobs, whatever. But the fact of the matter is you let your value drop.
Place. And it includes...
You notice her eyes, when she said that her eyes dropped? Watch this.
Includes things like your height, your weight. Includes things like your height, your weight, your about. For women, what is your sexual marketplace value? In other words, what is your value on the dating marketplace?
On the mating marketplace. Now notice how she closed her eyes in order to not lie. But the problem is, even when you're going to lie, you can close your eyes or look away. They're both tells that what you're about to say is not right. So this is a tell right here.
And it includes things like your height, your weight, your dress size, your physical appearance. And he usually asks women to rate themselves on a scale from 1 to 10, and you cannot choose 7 because that's the go-to number. So usually whenever he chooses what the woman's actual number is, sometimes he agrees with the woman's choice, sometimes he doesn't. But usually it's solely about the physical appearance. So
no, well, it is about the physical appearance. How would you know anything about the non-physical? See the ignorance that she's a psychologist, and she should know clearly, I'm never going to know nothing about your non-physical. When I meet somebody, I will never know, did they go to Harvard or Yale? Did they go to Princeton or not? Did you go to college or not? When you meet a woman, you cannot tell, I wish I could. I would never dated Denise LaVon Gordy. I would have never chose if I knew that she was going to kill her daughter a couple years later. You don't know.
Oh, now what the critics of Kevin Samuels say is that this is a very Western view.
What's the Eastern view? What's the Eastern view? We don't come from the East. So what's the Eastern view? This is great right here. See this good. See when you listen to people and you can ask questions of what they say, you really start to dig deep into BS.
Of dating, of appearance for women. And it's really objectifying women if you get
Objectifying women now. Listen to the catch-8 terms.
to the bottom of it. But one of the things that he says is that your sexual marketplace value is a major component in if you will be selected on the dating market.
Exactly.
And I think when he says this, he's specifically referring to African American women probably over the age of 25 or over
the age of 18. Over the age of 18. Marriage age between 18 and 40.
Age of 30. And women have a problem with that because
and now she agrees. And women have a problem with that. She doesn't agree with him, but she goes, and women have a problem with that. Of course, because Kevin Samuels told you.
they feel like it is a very Western and a rigid. And
she keeps going back to the Western rigid argument. We don't come from Eastern and soft. America's never been Eastern and soft. We called the West for a reason.
a narrow view of what women should be and who they should be, because it really looks too much about appearance.
It is about appearance. It's very important.
But I want to add one thing. If you're a single woman and you're out on the dating market, one of the things you'll learn fast is that your appearance really is a factor.
Of course it is.
In the dating market. It really does determine if you're rated higher or lower on the dating market.
Fat girls are not rated high. Fat girls like you. If I was a woman that had fat arms like that, I would not wear a sleeveless gown. But she's married for now. But men cheat as well. So my point is, you got to keep your husband by being attracted to your husband. If you don't, you may lose your husband due to cheating. And I'm talking the most religious of the religious.
And if you're African American, it could mean even more than maybe what it does in other groups. So appearance is an issue wherever you are. It's especially an issue on the dating market. Now, should we expand our view on what that means? Because at the end of the day, when you're meeting someone and you're dating, it's not just about appearance. It's really about compatibility and chemistry. And if you're...
It comes from appearances. Because the first thing you're going to do is have sex. So when she talks about it's about a compatibility, no, that only comes third and fifth, ninth. It's about appearances. It's about how do I look walking down the aisle with you? Do I make you swoon? Do I make you get aroused? Do you want to have sex with me? And vice versa about you.
Your values and beliefs mix with theirs, right?
You can't talk
so I think it minimizes and belittles the whole process of dating and courting all the way down to appearance, and it shouldn't be. But my question for you is, why is this such an issue for women? Why do we have such an issue with appearance being a huge factor in your dating selection? Because at the end of the day, no matter who you are as a woman and what you have, and if you're an African American woman, this is likely true, that no matter what degrees you have, your titles, your income, everything at the end of the day is going to include your appearance.
So now she subtly tries to use, doesn't matter what your titles are, she's agreeing with Kevin, but she don't want to say she's agreeing with him. Yeah, with all the makeup on and the eyeshadow, that's fake. I know that, baby. The reality, what your fresh face out of the shower look is important. Not the caked on foundation, not the caked on grease, not the caked on makeup. Fresh face out of the shower. That's the question that Kevin Samuels kept saying. And thank God he had about 4 years of quizzing and Q&A women. Because even though God let Satan take him away, his videos are still touching lives. And they will still touch lives. And so when women 10 years from now are angry and saying, why ain't get married? Why ain't get married? I say, go back to Kevin Samuels. Go back to him. He's been gone for 10 years, but his stuff is still true. Thank you. Amen. So that was it. But that's that. Now let's hear Kevin Samuels. You ready?
What's going on? What's going on? What is going on, man? Fragrance of the day. Yeah, 1957. Start out with Chanel 1957.
Now let's talk about this. Everything he was doing, he was being sponsored. And he didn't tell us, but now we know. And now we know forever, whenever somebody comes on YouTube, they're always doing a sponsor. They're getting sponsored. And that's understandable. This whole damn world is advertising. And so now instead of the advertisers being on commercials, because we ain't watching no more because we're not paying for cable, we're paying for streaming or getting it for free by watching on YouTube commercials. But even with the commercials, they're not the same level commercials. They're not the same level of commercials as, quote unquote, I was when I was a little kid. Okay, I'm gonna apply for y'all. I'm gonna apply for all of y'all. Good news is they got jobs popping up for, at least if I can apply for 4 jobs a day. Praise God. I gotta write my cover letter right now because I think that's the biggest thing. I have to have a good cover letter. All right, let's get started.
I'll round it out with one of my favorite fragrances on the planet. This stuff right here, Chanel Boy, especially in the spring and summertime, I can forget about it. Oh my God, that stuff is so good. Hip Hop Hotels in Tampa welcome me. Thank you. Godfather's about to start fluting out again. Time to take the show on the road. But let's get into it. Sinos on apparently. What's been going on? Anything new? Oh my God. Anything new? I asked the question. You know, I started to do a different broadcast. I was going to say, ladies, it's time for you to make a choice. You got to choose. You got to choose between feeling good and better. And you have to choose between good outcomes and feeling good. That's it. Let me go ahead and make a little public service announcement. You are going to have to choose between feeling good and doing good, getting good. That's going to be your choice because there are people out here who honestly believe you're dumb. They believe you're dumb. They believe you're stupid. They believe that all they have to do is keep telling you what you want to hear. Just keep telling you what you want to hear and you'll keep... Let's do that again. There are people out here who honestly believe this is all we got to do. That's what people believe they have to do. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, don't go in my chat room saying silly stuff. I'm going to get you blocked, okay? And don't, also, let me also say this. Don't come in here mentioning any other content creator's name. If you say somebody else's name, I will block you. Come in here saying anybody else's name, you got one shot at it, and you will get blocked. You want to say somebody's name, go elsewhere. No free press. That's the warning. All right. Bottom line is this, man. Bottom line is this. Ladies, you're going to have to decide whether you want to feel good or do good. There we go. Bye-bye. I got you even better. I'll just do this. Now y'all love silence. Thank you to the dunces in the classroom. So, ladies, what is your SMV? Because one thing I can say over here, the people who think you're stupid don't have anything for you because there are no men on their side. You can say what you want about this person, that person, but one thing is for sure. Men build the world. Men build societies. Men build communities. And the men are on this side. On the side that makes you feel good, it's a bunch of men asking you for your money, telling you what you want to hear, but they don't have ne'er a man for you. I have yet to hear anybody say, I've got more couples together than him. I got more folks married than him. And that's not even my business. So, ladies, you're going to have to make a decision. Do you want to have people keep telling you? Do you want people to keep thinking that all you need to make you happy is to tell you what you want to hear? Or have you decided that you want to have a better outcome? For the women who decided they want to have a better outcome, those are the people I want to talk to. The people who just want to hear what they want to hear, kindly exit stage left. That's what it comes right down to. Kindly exit stage left. These are reflective. Hold on. Because see, one thing I don't do is I don't beef. I don't beef and I don't go back and forth trading insults and slick disses and all other stuff with other content creators because I do the work. I let the work and the results speak for themselves. So have at it. But what you won't do is you won't come over here and disrupt the train. The train is going that way. Now, today's broadcast, ladies, what is your SMV? The question I asked on Instagram and on YouTube is no matter how you slice it, at the end of the day, unless you want to live with a woman with the rest of your life and be platonically married, you're going to have to decide how you're going to operate with a man. And the bottom line is, ladies, what do you think your sexual marketplace value is? And it is very simple. You take your face and rank it 0 to 10. You cannot use 7. Fresh face out of the shower, your natural face, your natural hair. Put that on the board. Then you take your body, 0 to 10, and you put that on the board. Add them together, divide by 2. That's what it is. And you round down. So if you got an 8 in the face and a 9 in the body, that means you're a 17. Divide by 2, that's an 8. I got a video I'm uploading regarding this because whether women want to believe it or not, worldwide, people will tell you Eurocentric standards of beauty. That's bullshit. The kind and caliber of man you want something. He wants something for his accomplishments and efforts. And it's not, not just to get the bare minimum. So, let me do this right now. Let me add all these. See, I love this is beautiful. So there's something called a filter. Yeah. Let's do that. So that's how it goes. Ladies, what do you want? To feel good? To feel good, sound good, or be good? That's your choice. Sound good, feel good, or be good. Number 1. Number 2. Do you actually know how to rank yourself? Do you know how to rank yourself? Do you know how to rank yourself? Because one of the biggest disconnects tends to be these days is women. Over the last year, I've seen women consistently rank themselves higher than a man would rank. And why is that important? Well, ladies, because if you're ranking yourself higher than the men would rank you, that means you're going to actually think you deserve a different level. Am I missing something? Looking at this settings profile. So let's get into it. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on just a second. Sharing. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. Put that word there. Put that word here. So set to auto snipe. Bingo. Here we go. If you want to get on Tommy, uh-oh. Here we go.
Kevin!
Motherfucking hustler. What's going on?
Wait, I gotta put on my thing. I have no makeup. Don't do
Okay,
this.
well, come back.
No, right here. I go right here. Hold on. You cute without makeup. What's good, Kevin?
What's
You
going
like my
on?
hair?
What the fridge toast? What the
Is
hell?
this
Is this like a Thriller video?
Shut the fuck up! No, this is a look for it's fashion, baby. Don't worry, we do this.
Okay.
So you think
What's
I'm
going
gonna
on,
my
man?
dream man like this?
I'm telling you, the first thing I thought of was Michael Jackson's Thriller, man. I paid my way through half of college with Michael Jackson.
No, it's because the filter got these eyes on it. I hate this. But look, I'd rather listen to answer your question. I'd rather be a feeling. Because niggas, you could do all of that. They can remember your sound, your voice, your fragrance, all that shit. I like when a nigga love how I feel. You get what I'm saying? That's what I've been told to feel real good. Pussy on Florida. You know what I'm saying, Kevin?
I
With
guess.
that grip in it.
Okay. The question I was asking is, do you ladies want men to make you feel good, or do you want better outcomes? And see,
when it comes to men, you gotta have both, because you can't be having no good outcomes and then a dick trash. I don't like.
Oh
that.
Lord, have you been drinking?
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. No. Okay, listen. The outcome and all that stuff is good, but I'm gonna always go searching elsewhere if I'm not getting pleased. If that makes sense. If you're not pleasing me, you could be the best man in the world. I could have flowers by my bedside. You could take me shopping from here to motherfucking Italy, wherever. If the feeling is not there, and you could develop a feeling too. You could develop a feeling for a minute.
But what I'm saying is today, now see, first off, you're in a different group. You have a different life than a lot of women. And today, women are being told things like in the church. If you go to church, I grew up in a church and there was actually Old Testament, New Testament. There were sins and there were things you should do or should not do. Today, everything goes in the church. Okay. And that's where the men are gone. So what I'm saying is women are being told what they want to make them feel good, but they're not getting the outcomes. You can get the outcomes that most women can't get. Your eyes are messing with me in this damn filter.
I'm sorry. Wait. I hate it when they do this, but this is a good filter, y'all. GG. Okay, don't look at my eyes. Just keep talking.
All right. So here's what I'm gonna bring somebody. What are you doing? Are you actually getting ready for a shoot or something?
Yes.
I'll be back in LA in about 3 or 4 weeks. Good. I'm gonna get onto some next look. I'm gonna connect with you.
I want to connect with you too, so please be sure. This is my hairstyle. She love you.
Yeah, we will do that. I'm gonna be back in LA in 3 weeks. I gotta come out there to do I don't want to say what I'm doing, but it's gonna be dope. I'll talk to y'all later. Have fun.
All right, Kevin. Love
Bye-bye.
you.
Love you too. Bye-bye. All right, folks. Shout out to Tommy Lee. Look, ladies, let me make it clear. I am not talking about, can y'all hear me? I'm trying to get better audio when I have these conversations. I'm not talking about having good results and then having a man or just men who don't say anything that make you feel good or speak life into you. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a video I did a couple of weeks ago where I said women love liars and cheaters. There are folks that would really make you want you to believe that you can do whatever you want, have no discretion. The world is yours. But the problem is the men don't agree with that. And that I see it leading women down a path of being alone. All right, but you know what? I probably need to do that on a YouTube video. because that's going to need to have an actual visual, a vigorous discussion. Go into the show I'm doing tonight. Ladies, what is your sexual marketplace value? What is your sexual marketplace value? And this is what I need you to understand. I judge women based upon women of the past. Especially when I judge Black women, I get a lot of heat for how I judge Black women. I'm judging you against Pam Grier, Diane Carroll, Eartha Kitt, classic Black beauties. I'm not judging you against European standards of beauty or whatever. So at the end of the day, ladies, if you are, just think of it yourself as a product. If you're overestimating your value, you're going to ask for too much. And if you're asking for too much, how are you going to get what it is you really deserve, or what's fair? Let's talk about it. I'm not trying to sit back and here's another thing. You never see smile. People come over here. Why don't you just go ahead and make me up to be whoever you want me to be? I got news for you. I'm a human being like anybody else. I respond to what I get out there. Watch more of my content before you see or say anything. You don't do this to this person, do this to this person. Why don't you just say, I have bad faith and I'm looking for anything that he does to critique it? Why don't you do that? Talk about white women, please. Why? I'm not white. Why? Why do I need to talk about white women? I'm not white. There's plenty of white men to talk about. Why? Why do I need to talk about white women? I'm not white. I lower your self-esteem? Well, let me help you out, Monique. Bye-bye.
Oh, hi.
Let me help you out, Monique. I'm gonna help you out by lowering your self-esteem. I'm gonna block you and leave, and you can raise your self-esteem. Why do I need to talk about white women?
I mean, I feel like you could talk about all races of women. I mean, I understand that you, in your
First of all, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel like, I think it would be better if you talk about other races of women, because I feel like as a Black woman, most Black women feel like you're targeting us, even though, that's perception. Everybody takes things and looks at things differently, but that's what a lot of people perceive you to be doing, to be targeting Black women and down talking.
Well,
so I'm just suggesting.
So,
you can't cut me off.
Oh no! First of all, yes, I actually can.
Okay, you can.
Oh yeah! No!
You're not going to
This is not my.
You're not going to overtalk me.
Kick rocks. Kick rocks. I don't know who the fuck you think you are. Well, I don't know where you think that place is. See, that's the point. You don't want anybody to target you. Everyone in this country has had their behavior evaluated. A Black woman, Sister Shahrazad Ali said that back in 1988, 89. So, in other words, you'll take all the praise, but you don't want. Why do so many sisters not want a critical examination of the reality? It's coming whether you like it or not. And it's some of the most disingenuous, hypocritical crap I hear of. Why don't you, instead of you saying, why don't you do this? Why don't you just act better? Was there a reason to come on here and do that? All I asked you was who you are, how old you are, and I let you speak. But to come into my program, my platform, and tell me what I can and cannot do at 27 years old, that's why we talk about who we talk about. Thank you guys for proving the point. Every time you try to tell me what I should and should not do, all I do is have a conversation with who shows up, and the reality is what it is. That's what I do. I don't make it up. I don't edit it. In real time, I just have a conversation. The first conversation was with a Black woman, and it went fine. The next conversation with a Black woman goes off the rails. What's the difference? They were both Black women. The problem is staring most people in the mirror. No, you're not coming back on. Nope. I get the problem is staring most people in the mirror. So that's what that be. All right. What's your sexual marketplace value? And it is not NOT, not how much you make. the men who tell you you're queens, goddesses, the mother of the earth, Oshun, Osiris. Just you want the praise. Are you above reproach?